Hi guys! Well, it's been quite a while since my last tutorial. I think it's like 11 days. Reason being I was sick with COVID. It finally got me. I'm okay. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't pleasant, but I didn't have a severe strain or anything. So I'm feeling good now, so I thought I'd do a tutorial today. And today I'm going to do a faux gold quartz. Now, please bear in mind that stones vary, and looking at the gold quartz, these vary quite a lot, so I'm just going to do my own rendition of it, bearing in mind some of the characteristics of that stone. So what I've got is a whole block of Premo trans here, and I've got one chunk which I'm going to use as my base, so that needs to be conditioned into a little block, and then the remainder of the block I've cut three equalish size pieces of Premo translucent. You'll need a roller, and I've also rolled out some white clay onto a number 3, and I've also rolled out some Premo opal onto a number 4. So that's the clay that you're going to need. Obviously you'll need a blade. You'll also need some gold metal leaf and some translucent liquid clay, along with cutters of your choice, etc. I'm probably going to use this one, and I'm also going to use a mould. Unfortunately, this is from Yaroslav Molds, and his shop, his Etsy shop is now closed. He's based in Russia, so work it out for yourself why he's closed. But you don't have to use a mould, you can just use cutters. Alright, so I'm just going to take the first chunk of trans and just give it a quick squash down, just to flatten it out a little bit, just so it's thin enough to go through my pasta machine. So that's that one, and the same with the other two. I'm trying to think if I have remembered everything. You know what I'm like, I usually forget something, but I think I'm good. And then the last little block, just give it a bit of a smush, and then I'm going to get that white clay that I told you about, and I'm just going to cut some equal sized pieces out. This is just to make sure I'm getting a somewhat accurate measurement, and this is rolled onto a number 3. So on the first chunk of clay I'm going to put one circle, and this is quite a small one. On the second piece I'm going to put 1.5 circles, and then on the last piece I'm going to put 2.5. But that's all the white clay you're going to need. So I've got 1, 1.5, 2.5. Now, like I say, these stones vary. Some are more translucent, some are have a lot more white in them, so that's why I'm doing that. But all I need to do now is pass each of these through the pasta machine and thoroughly mix the white into them and condition this into a block. I'll just do that quickly now. It's going to get a good condition as we work with it, but get it semi-soft, I guess, and then just form it into a little block like so. And if you've got any tipsy hairs like I do, just pull those out. Alright, so I've got my block ready to go, and these need to be passed through the pasta machine, and when I've done that I will be back. I've got my little block of translucent a bit more conditioned than it was, whoops, and I've mixed the white into the translucent, so they're the pieces of white. And now all we're going to do, oh, and I rolled these onto a number 4, by the way. All of these ones are on a 4. So first thing first, then I'm just going to start tearing pieces off, and it's pretty random. I'm not doing any set formula. I'm just tearing pieces off and kind of layering it over that little block like so. Give it a little press down and get your blade blunt side down and just start chopping through. Now I'm aiming to get some fractures by doing this, because I noticed in some of the gold quartz it had fractures. Others don't, others look more like a chippy choppy. Like I say, they always vary, stones vary a lot, and this one seems to vary quite a bit, so just for the sake of giving it a name, gold quartz. So when you've put your first layer on and given it a chop, then you can grab your opal. And again, I'm just tearing pieces off. I'm not necessarily going to do full sheets of it, although you can, and I might actually alternate strips and full sheets, so to speak, you know, a piece that will cover the whole square. And then I'm going to layer some more of this on top. Like I say, I'm just randomly selecting one of those white sheets that I did, and I'm just placing that on there again. And that is really all you're doing all the way through the block, just building it up, and it's fairly random. Blade again and give it a chop through. And hopefully what this is doing, this is pushing the white translucent into the translucent mixed with white into the translucent block. Make sure you always press it back together after every cut as well. Now let's add some more of this opal and even a few little slithers of this. I'm just going to plonk that on top. Like I say, guys, it's as random as you want it to be. Cut again. And I did that sharp side down, so that's probably not going to look that great there, so I'm just going to redo that. Just want to make sure that white gets dragged through into the base. And I'm trying to keep those cuts going the same way each time. I don't know whether you noticed, but I start here and go that way each time. And just squash it back together. And then some more of this opal. And some more strips of the white and trans mix. And give it another mush. So that's all you're doing, guys, you're just building it up little by little. And I might not even use all of this, to be honest. Made quite a lot of it. I could always make another block, I guess. I'll just do a few more layers. Blade blunt side down again. I'm just going to plonk a pretty complete sheet of the opal this time, and one of those, and one of those, and that way I'm using it up as well. So you can do fuller sheets, but I would recommend that you kind of alternate the strips in the fuller sheets. And blade again, blunt side down, cut all the way through. You can do them really close together, you can do them far apart, whatever. And I think we'll go one more layer of everything, and I think that's where I'll stop. And if you look on the sides, you can see that some of this white is being pushed down. Look, so it's going through all the stack like that. Let's just do a few little random pieces, and that's all the opal I'm going to use. So there's still quite a bit left. Obviously you can use that for whatever. And I'm just going to do some more little random strips of the different whites. And then I'm just going to take one more piece and plonk it on top, and I don't even know which that one was, to be fair, but it doesn't matter. And I've got these bits left, and I'm just going to mix them all up into one lump. Okay, so that's the stack. Very easy. Just going to make sure it's nicely pressed, and I'm going to do one more cut. Okay, and that's that. And one final squeeze together. And I am going to get my roller and just give it a bit of a roll. I want to make sure it's nicely stuck together. Alright, so that's the block. Now what you're going to do, and this is another little thing that I noticed about the gold quartz. It does have the gold vein running through it. Some of it has just little, splatters of it. But the one I specifically looked at, the gold was very clustered. So I'm going to aim for that. But you don't have to. You can just, do little splatters of it here and there. Right, so my usual little trick, I'm just going to cut into the stack like that. And this is where you need your gold leaf and some translucent liquid clay. And onto each side of that cut, you're going to paint some of that translucent clay on there, liquid translucent clay. Like that. And then, oops. And then get some of that gold leaf, and I'm just going to smash it in there. Someone asked me why I don't use a paintbrush to put the gold leaf on. Don't want to, that's why. It's no big deal doing it with your fingers. I don't know why people get so upset by stuff like that. It's like you can tell it really bothers them that I'm getting my fingers a little messy. And then I'm going to slap some on the other side like that. And just smush it in there. And then join that cut back up. Now, like with every other time that I've done this technique, the gold leaf does, or the metal leaf does, like to resist sticking, so you do have to just kind of play with it a little bit. Now, because the stone I wanted to do had those gold bits close together, I'm going to keep those cuts close together. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Smear some of that on there. And that was a lot. Just plop some of that on each side of that cut again. And just kind of press it down. I got way too much on that one. And see, that one split there where I did the previous cut, but don't panic, just smush it back together, it'll be fine. Let me just wipe this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing those cuts. I'm just moving this over here for a second, guys, because my table's a little wet, and I'm just trying to get that smushed back together a bit better. Like I say, it likes to act up. It doesn't want to stick that well, but it will eventually, trust me. So I'm going to do another cut, and again I'm keeping those cuts fairly close to each other, like that. And some more on that, and some more gold leaf. And just smush that on there, and I think I'll probably do one more cut, and oh my gosh, messy. You see, I don't see the point of even using tweezers because I still get in a mess with it whatever I do, so let me just use my fingers, guys, and don't get all upset because they get a bit sticky, okay? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm being a little snarky, aren't I? But, you know, right, I'm giving up with this now because it's getting way messy. And I'm just going to plop that back together like so, and I'm just wondering whether I'm going to need another cut or not. Did I put that the wrong way? Okay, that's better. I put it the wrong way around, guys. Yeah, I'm going to do one more cut, but I'm not going to do it all on camera. I'm just going to show you where I do my cut. So again, it's relatively close, but I'm going to bring it all the way down the block like this. And then I'm just going to repeat that same step with the liquid clay and the gold leaf. And I'll be back. Form this back into a block after putting that final cut in, and it's starting to stick a little bit better now, but I'm just going to give it a quick rub over with some isopropyl alcohol just to clean that top off a little bit, and you can keep doing that down through the stack as you go, but that's good. And these are going to get a bit of a sand as well, so it's not that important that you get every last little bit off. And this one is really struggling to stick. Anyway, I'll work with it. Now, I did this one of two ways, and I noticed that when you put this in the mould, it looks very different to when you just use a cutter. I personally prefer the look of the cutter, but I will show you the mould as well. The way that I'm doing it, I mean, you can just take slices off and stick it in the mould, but what I want you to see is the difference between just taking a full slice and like little pieces like this, and then putting them in the mould that way, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. And you can see it's really kind of breaking on me. So I'm just shaving off thinnish pieces. And these pieces are going to go into the mould like that, and it does give it a different look. I don't normally have this much trouble with it sticking, to be honest with you guys, but let's just see how this one goes. So I've got these little pieces and I'm just literally stuffing them in there fairly randomly, really, and it does give you a different look. It could be a different stone altogether, to be honest, but I'm just showing you what I did when I did my practice run, and then you can decide which you like. You might like both of them equally, who knows, but I'm just sticking those in there like that. I need a few more little slices. Just to fill those gaps. Now, like I say, this is a Yaroslav mould and he's not operating as a business on Etsy at the moment, so and I don't really buy moulds. I don't have that many, so you might know of someone that, you know, oh, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that to one side instead of wasting it filling this up, but I am just going to take a couple more. I don't understand. Oh, I know why it's having a hard time sticking. It's because of the opal. I just realised I didn't use opal in the last batch that I did. But it will all work out. You just got to keep playing with it. And I'm just getting that in there all to the edges. Making sure everything's all nicely stuck together. And I'm just going to take a little, I might as well just use a little bit of this just to fill it up a little bit. I don't want to waste all the good stuff. So some of that leftover trans mixed with white, I'm just stuffing that in there just to fill it up, really. And then I'm going to give it a little roll just to make sure it's nice and level. Nice and smooth. My fingers are nicely healed now, guys. I don't know whether you've noticed I'm not wearing any cots at the moment. I mean, it's still a little bit dry on this one, so I've got to be a bit careful, but my fingers are in such a bad way for a good 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm half considering not using resin anymore. I'm trying to find something else that I like to give a nice shine. I have got something in mind. I'm going to buy some and then I'll see how it works before I put it in my Amazon storefront, etc. But today it's going to have to be resin, UV resin that is, because I know people ask me quite a lot what kind of resin do I use, even though it's listed in my Amazon storefront what I use, but I guess people don't always look there. Yeah, it's UV resin. And I've got nothing funny to tell you guys again. I feel like I'm turning boring. Alright, so that's how it looks, obviously pre-bake, when you squash it into a mould like that. I mean, that one's come out pretty nice, I must say. Just going to tidy this up a little bit on the edge. Just give it a little smooth. I will give it a sand as well. Pop that on some card. Another little clean with some alcohol. Like so. So that's how it looks when you do it in a mould. So that's one way. And then obviously the other way is to just use a cutter and try and get, I'm just going to squash this together, try and make it stick, to try and get a just a full slice instead of, you know, little chippy choppy pieces like that. So I'm going to turn this on its side, on its edge, and I'm going to take a fairly thick piece, mainly because it's playing up and not sticking very well. And I'm just going to make sure that's really nicely stuck on my tile. And I'm going to get my little measuring measuring sticks. These are to a 2.5mm thickness. Oh Joy Creation sells these, and they go, I think it's 2.5 and 3mm, but I'm just going with the 2.5, and I'm just going to give it a roll, and it's going to separate. So just swish it back together. Oh my gosh, I might have to put a backing on this, guys. I don't know yet. I'll see if I can play with it, make sure it sticks. No. Try again. I'm just trying to get it level. Okay. Right. Oh dear. Fun and games. I'm just, you know, manipulating that a little bit because I don't want it to fall apart on me. And I'm just going to get my cutter and cut it out. Give it a little wiggle, make sure it's gone through all the way. Get rid of that excess, which can be used. I'd probably use these in a mould as well, just to use up those scraps. So that's what it looks like pre-bake. As one full slice and just using a cutter. Now when you're using opal, you will find that you get little bits sticking out the edges. Don't panic, you can deal with that when it's baked. Just brush off any that are easy to brush off now. And I'm just going to give this a quick wipe down with alcohol again. Try not to get any on my thumb. I just can't work with gloves on, guys. I just can't do it. I've tried. I mean, I do when I'm using resin, obviously, but anything else, I just, oh, straight in the alcohol. Just put that there, wipe that down. Alright, so, and that's got a thumbprint on it, I can see it, so just another quick wipe. Okay, so that's the cutter and that's the mould, and we'll see what they look like when they come out of the oven. Shall I make another piece while I'm here, or is that enough? And I can always make some more and show you after, I guess. Actually, I am. I'm going to show you one more, because obviously the further down this stack you go, the more translucent you're going to hit, because we started off with that base. So I do want to do one with more trans in it, just so you can see the difference. But all these pieces, don't throw them. You can either chippy choppy them up and make, you know, a chippy choppy stone, or you can put them in a mould. But I am gonna take some more pieces off. And what I might do with these is just lay them how I fancy on a piece of translucent backing. If I do that, I'll show you, but I'm not going to show you on camera. I'm just getting rid of some of these slices, so you can see as you cut down, you're going to start, whoops, you're going to start hitting that translucent at the bottom, which looks kind of cool. So I'm just going to take a few more slices so I can make some pieces with those. And then I'm going to try and get a slice out of this. So if I cut down in the middle-ish of what's left, like so, you can see now we're hitting that translucent more down here. That was a very wonky cut, but I will use it. But I'm going to have to level this off, so I'm just going to slice this chunk off here, and all these pieces can be used, and I will show you what I make with them. I mean, these bits are looking really nice. Okay, so I'm down to my last little chunk, and it's got more of the trans there now, so I just wanted you to see that. I mean, you could keep on slicing down and just use it as slices like that, or you can just do fuller slices like this. It's all on you guys what you want to do. So I'm just going to give this a roll and hope it doesn't split on me every 5 seconds, which it probably will. And I'm thinking which shape to go with for this one. I'm thinking this one. Yeah, why not? I'm kind of enjoying myself today. It's like when you've been in bed for a week. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty hooked on polymer clay, so even when I'm sick, I'm thinking about it and what I can do next. And yeah, I'm just having a good time. So I'm just going to roll this again onto a 2.5mm thickness and hope it doesn't break on me, which seems to be holding a bit better than the last piece. I'm just going to keep rolling until it's level with those measuring sticks. Getting there. Okay. There we go. All right. So another piece then. Let's get a bit of everything in that one. So I can get another couple of pieces out of that probably. Or at least one piece. Cut that out. There's that piece, and then I've got another little bit there that I can do something with. So I've got a really itchy nose today. I think it might be allergies or something, I don't know. Let's just go with this one here like that. That makes another little pendant, doesn't it? Lift that up, and then we've got these bits again that can be used in a chippy choppy or in a mould, but I'm not throwing them away, but I am going to keep them to one side. And somehow that's got a bit of blue in it. I do not know where that came from. I will deal with that later. But these bits, I think I'm going to roll out a sheet of translucent, guys, and place them on the backing like that. Yeah, I'll show you anyway. Alright guys, so there are all my pieces. There's that one. This one hasn't got much gold in it, but again, some quartz doesn't have as much gold in it. I'm just going to give them another quick wipe, and then I'm going to bake them. I'm going to give them a sand very quickly all over with a 320 grit, just to get rid of any surface, gold leaf that doesn't need to be there, and just to tidy up the edges, etc. And I'll be back. Whoops. Just another quick wipe. Alright guys, so I'm going to go and put these in the oven and I will be back. Alright guys, I've baked them, I sanded them just to smooth off any rough edges, and I've resined the fronts. I haven't done the back, and I've got a fingerprint on that one. Wait a minute. And again, I'm still undecided how I want to, you know, they're going to be pendants, but I've not decided what I'm going to do with them yet, so I'm just going to show them to you like this. So that's the one that I did in the mould, and actually it didn't come out that differently to the one that I did with the cutter, but the reason why I thought it might is because my first batch that I did, it really did come out quite a bit different look. So it all depends on placement, I guess, and the sizes of the pieces that you cram in there, but you can get different looks. So there's 2 hearts, that's from today, that's from my original batch. There's those, and that's the one that I did today, and I've missed a bit of resin there, so I'm going to have to go back over that. Ignore that bit, guys. But there's that one. And this is another one that I did from my other batch, and this is one where I cut further down the stack so there's more translucent. The one that I did today, I actually scorched it, which hardly ever happens to me, so it's like, oh. But anyway, so I'm not going to show you that one, but you can see there's more translucent here. You can perhaps just see my finger going behind it. So there's that. So that's one that's cut closer to the top, so it's more opaque, and the further you go down, the more translucent it will become. And then this is the other one that I did on camera, and again this has got more of the translucency coming through, and you can actually see some of those opal flakes a little clearer on that one. Just adds a little bit of sparkle. And then from today's batch, these, which I think these look really nice, I love these, and obviously they're going to be earrings. So there's those, and then another one that I did from today's batch, just in a different shape. So there you go guys, that's today's tutorial done. I've got to work out how I'm going to finish these now, so... But there's the pieces. Oh, and there's another piece here. I almost left that one out, and that's from my previous batch. And again, that's a little bit more opaque and less gold. So it all depends on how you place them, how far down the stack you cut, etc. You're going to get a different look with each one, really, but not a different look, but slightly different. You know what I mean, guys. I'm rambling, but there you go. There's the pieces for today, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.